Hey everyone, it's Stormer here and welcome back to From the Depths. Today I'm showing you the Marshal. Someone commented on the last episode of From the Depths and was like, hey, check out my ship, see about upgrading it or something like that. So me and Philip did exactly that. We upgraded the Marshal from this to this. So the first thing you will notice is the hull is very different. It is much more smoother over on this side. You can see it's a very similar shape, but it's smoothed out so much more. And all the propellers on this thing are taken out. All those propellers just gone because propellers and putting them into the hull and stuff like that, tons of drag, which means way slower. This thing has a keel, and then Philip was like, hey, I'll make a different keel, and he put a Deddy blade in here. So why he did that is because this ship likes to tip over, and that's because it's so narrow and so long and doesn't have that much of a flat bottom. So I did give it more of a flat bottom than this one so it wouldn't be as likely to tip over, but it still tipped over. I believe the propellers on the very bottom, the big ones, are to keep it out of the water because it's super heavy and it sinks, but then all the little propellers on the sides, those are to keep it stable. And then when it runs out of power, then the propellers turn off and then the ship still tips over. And so it has these balloons here, which then activate and then it tip it right side up. As you can see though, we took out the balloons because this Deddy blade down here, it fixes the problem. While we're on this mast thing here, we made a much bigger radar than this one. This radar has a kind of cool feature where it detects when a enemy is within a certain amount of range, and then it turns on this radar decoy. So then if they have any like radar seeking missiles or turrets that shoot at radar or something like that, it'll actually shoot at this decoy way above any of the other main components of the ship, so it really won't do any damage. This one, I just integrated it more into it, so it's a lot sleeker, and this radar is much bigger, so it can see more of the map here. I want to say that the creators said they took this ship, which was a really good ship on the workshop, and was upgrading it and making it modern because it's so outdated at this point. So they did a decent job. I'm not sure what all they did to it, but they were working on it. You can see there's recoil absorbers in here just sticking way out. So you could see that they realized that this gun didn't have enough recoil absorption, which it still doesn't, even with this giant antenna thing sticking out of it. I think they also tried upgrading some other things like the armor. So they had heavy armor on the turret and applique paneling. They were saying that it was really low on armor. It was really weak. And that was the biggest thing that they wanted us to upgrade, and so Philip mainly focused on that. Most of the original of the ship is 2 blocks thick of metal, when this one, we can see in here, there's some places that we have some just double metal, but then some of it is one metal and then one heavy armor. Heavy armor around the ammo, heavy armor all the way to the front. The next big upgrade was the steam engine. So you can see here there's 2 propellers here and then 2 steam engines. Large piston, small boilers, and a ton of them. This does technically work, but it is not efficient. So the first thing I did right away was ripped out all the boilers and then replace them all with large boilers and split it up to the pistons because this is all one system to both engines. And then there's a bunch of these pressure release valves here and a bunch of unnecessary piping. So what I did over here, we have one boiler for one engine and one boiler for the other engine. That makes it a lot cheaper and it runs a lot better. On this steam engine, there's some control block somewhere, I think, that's controlling the boilers and it's limiting the power. I don't think it works in the first place because if you go full throttle in this one, it doesn't let the boilers ramp up anymore. So the pistons are stuck at 4 RPM. This thing, when I first got it, it went 5 meters a second. Then the creator gave me an updated version of it, which didn't change a whole lot. And now it goes 9 meters a second. The upgraded version, oh, it is so much faster. I'll show you guys here in a couple minutes. Back here, there's a little smoke gun. It shoots out little bullets that explode at a certain distance and make smoke, so you can like smoke an area and not be detected. That's a pretty cool little feature of the ship. This gun and this gun here, Phillip went in and upgraded them and shoved in a ton of recoil absorption, so now they have plenty of absorption, and they're all hidden away, unlike that one. And some of how we did that is we took out some of the coolers because there were just a ton of coolers. Phillip might have changed the missiles a tiny bit and might have changed the torpedoes. Yes, this is a torpedo thing. It turns and then shoots off the torpedoes off of the side of the ship. I wanted to mention that these are not the colors of the ship. The yellow is, but I believe the white is supposed to be like a red and the black is supposed to be a gray. It's just because of how my fleet colors are is just why it looks like this. So that's why it might look a little bit funky. Slash time set day, go away nighttime. One of the biggest changes that we made to this ship is we ripped out these 2 side advanced cannons. We were looking at them and we're like, they're okay, but we don't really like them. And then I also didn't like that they stuck out on the side. Like, it might have been a little bit better if they were facing forward and then could just turn to the side to shoot. But Phillip was looking at it and he's like, it's not super great. So we just took them out completely, ripped them out, and we put 3 simple weapons in here. There's a lot of lightweight alloy on the top of the ship because saving weight. One of the weird part of the ships is the LAM system. So if you go straight down, there's this whole laser section down here. Just a ton of laser stuff all down here. And also a bunch of this weird shield piping, which actually I don't remember if Phillip put shields in this ship. We might have to do that before we put it up on the Steam Workshop. It really doesn't do a whole lot, at least from Phillip's understanding. It doesn't do a whole lot for the ship except protect the laser system. It doesn't exactly protect much else. But then also, that this is only one part of the laser system. If you go up here, there's more laser stuff. It's just a LAM system. You don't need that much laser stuff for a LAM system. So I ripped it all out, including the shield system. All the shields are gone, and I replaced it with just this one little laser system. We replaced the octuple on the front with the 3.7 inch. This is a big disaster of the original ship. The AI system is in the very front of the ship. And it's also not just one AI system. It's like 2 or 3 mainframes or something like that. And then the general purposing cards are also disconnected from the mainframe, which is just a few blocks away from it. If this ship rammed another ship or beached on an island or something, the AI system might just be gone. And then, it's just a sitting duck. Can't do anything. And that's some of why there's this heavy armor here, is to protect said AI system. But it's just bad positioning altogether. Like, you could just scrape bottom traveling somewhere on accident, and your AI system would be gone. And then your ship would be useless. We moved the AI system to about right here above all the resources, and it's also protected by stone, and, I think it's a much better placement of it. It's not as likely to get destroyed right here, also behind metal, heavy, and stone in the middle of the ship, instead of hardly protected in the front of the ship where just scraping an island can destroy it. I think that's about it. So let's drop this thing down and take it for a drive. Those little propellers on that ship, they weren't doing a whole lot. They were adding like 1 meter a second. The steam propellers were doing all of it. But like I said, 9 meters a second, 37 meters a second. This thing is so fast. It is freaking amazing. Also, the turning. Phillip put in some Deddy blades. at the front here to have it turn better. He also put in some at the back so it can actually turn in place. But the turning is so fast. Look at that. It is so fast at turning. If you're wondering what all these other Dedi blades, like the Dedi blades there, and then there's, I think, Dedi blades, right, there's a Dedi blade there, there's Dedi blades there, and then there's Dedi blades right here. If you're wondering what all of those are, it's to keep the ship out of the water, because the helium is not actually enough to keep it out of the water, which the original didn't even have helium. That is the upgraded Marshall. Once again, another fun project with upgrading instead of just starting from scratch. I did read your guys' comments, and I did download all your projects that you left in the last episode. I do have to say, though, that it's not a guarantee that we will upgrade your ship. Me and Phillip might look at it and be like, it's not worth our time. No offense to you or your creation, it's just that we have other stuff to do also. We don't just play From the Depths 24/7, as much as you guys would like that. But if you guys do want more From the Depths content, tell us in the comments. And then also, Phillip, if you didn't know, he streams on a regular basis, and some of what he streams is From the Depths. And some of the time, I'm in there too. So you might get some sneak peeks of the coming episodes on this channel, or you might see a completely different project that Phillip's working on. Link in the description to Phillip's stream, and if you like this one, share it with a friend, and if you want to see one like this, hit subscribe. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.